It's time for something new, guys. We've been spending a lot of time on the PlayStation 4, and this gave us a lot of time to think about the stories that we cover, such as Metal Gear Solid and Kingdom Hearts. We wanted to express our opinions, our inner thoughts, and our conclusions that we've come to after all of our research, and in turn, we were hoping to get your opinions and see what you guys think of this. Keep in mind, these are just our opinions, these are not hard facts. And due to that, this video may become a bit ranty for some people. So let's have a look at why, as much as I love the Metal Gear series, and always will, why I think maybe it's time to just let it die before we grow to hate it. Individually, each Metal Gear game remains a true epic piece of gaming history, but wrapped together as an overall plot, it might be reaching too far. Let me explain. Part of what we love about Metal Gear Solid is the over-the-topness that is Metal Gear Solid. I mean, come on, who doesn't love robot ninjas, possessed hands, spirits of the dead coming back, and even a clone saga slightly more confusing than the Spider-Man one? But it's all this craziness that might also be the downfall of the series. Let's compare the insane story of Metal Gear to another completely insane and accepted story, Kingdom Hearts. Now, I love both games, but both games fell into the same trap. They both got an unexpected level of fame. Metal Gear 1 and 2 were great games, nothing really crazy about them. You were Solid Snake fighting against Big Boss. There wasn't any giant secret plot with a secret society, there was no evil villain who actually had a goal that was good, and certainly no robot ninjas. When creating Metal Gear Solid, they decided that they wanted to give you an anime feel, with mystery, intrigue, romance, and oh my god, the sudden reveals that would make M. Night Shyamalan jealous. Why did they do this? Well, fun fact about Metal Gear Solid is it was the first game to show that a game can be a movie to a certain degree. A movie isn't a game, as in it doesn't just have a hero, a villain, and a barely passable plot about a villain kidnapping a princess and then you have to go save her. Sure, we had great plots before this, the Final Fantasies come to mind, but we never had a movie, and Metal Gear Solid was just that. Just look at this opening cutscene right here. Well, in order to make it an engaging movie for people who may be watching the gamer, they needed movie-style elements. That meant a full story arc, and with the length of the game, you would also need over-the-top oh my god moments to keep people engaged. They did an excellent job and made the entire story wrap up nice and perfect. Big Boss was still the villain, Liquid Snake was defeated in a rather definitive way, and Snake rode off with the girl, or guy, depending on your ending. They did give us the oh my god, Ocelot is working for the president at the ending moment, but while this left it open for a sequel, it also closed out the game in case it didn't do too well. Now, Kingdom Hearts did the same thing. The first game was trying to convey a story. The first game had a full story arc with epic cutscenes. The first game gave you a loss, a sadness. It had a bit of emotion coming out of you, and then it wrapped it up in a nice little bow with just enough to continue if they got greenlit for another game. Because no one expected either one of these titles to become the smash hit that they became. This is where the problems began for Metal Gear Solid, but they somehow made it work for Kingdom Hearts. This is from my own opinion after playing all of these games and from recently going through all of the plots to both games, as the viewers of this channel know I just did for the complete story series. But it would appear that Metal Gear Solid was making it up as they were going, looking for ways to blow your mind each and every game. But it looks like the director of Kingdom Hearts sat down and planned the whole thing out. Now, no one flame me over this, stop going down to the comments, I see you trolls. It might be the exact opposite of this, but this is just what I'm currently thinking. Let's look at the evidence. When we start up Metal Gear Solid 2, we're given the immediate mind-blown moment of learning that we are Raiden. Then the game plays on the idea that Raiden is in this situation to recreate Solid Snake. To achieve this goal, we get a shocking realization that everything is a fake reality, which leads you to question what is real, what wasn't. But after defeating yet another clone of Big Boss, we discovered that the Patriots were all actually dead for the last 100 years. But how could this be? With that and the fact that Ocelot was possessed by his hand, we're led down a supernatural path. Kingdom Hearts came out with a follow-on game itself, which, just like Metal Gear Solid 2, was more confusing than the last game. But looking back, here is where you can begin to get a sense that they were planning more for Kingdom Hearts. So much supposedly happened to these characters between the first and second game. And I mean more than that little Game Boy title that they released. When we reached the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, you felt resolved and happy that we saved the day, only to get that bonus ending where you find out that the adventure is just beginning. While in Metal Gear Solid 2, and I might be reaching too much for this one, but I felt like it was a mockery of the fact that every other game company tried to make their own Solid Snake and stealth-based game. In the end, it felt like Hideo was sticking his middle finger out to the world and said, "Not even I can recreate Solid Snake, so stop trying!" Okay, maybe he didn't actually do that last bit and it was a bit of a reach, but I still loved Metal Gear Solid. I loved the gameplay. I loved feeling that there was more to the Patriots and Solid Snake, even if we didn't get that much from Metal Gear Solid 2's overall plot, except for more questions than we started with. And this brings us to Metal Gear Solid 3, where we wanted answers. We wanted closure. We wanted to know what was going on with the Patriots and Solid Snake and why there was an arm controlling Ocelot. And please God, don't bring back Raiden. And why are we in the 60s? This game came out years after Metal Gear Solid 2, and at this point, most of us had kind of forgotten about the big cliffhangers that Metal Gear Solid 2 left us with. What we were left with was one of the most incredible stories ever told in Metal Gear Solid, learning that Big Boss, the villain and the core of Metal Gear 2 and Metal Gear Solid, wasn't actually an evil, hell-bent villain. You learn how Big Boss was toyed with, messed with, and possibly driven to what happened in Metal Gear, and the stage was set for potentially an epic story being told on the scale of Lord of the Rings. But Hideo wanted to quit directing the series. He stated it multiple times at this point. So how would you feel if we got to the Two Towers in Lord of the Rings, and they just said, I'm bored with it? At this point, the years went by, and both Kingdom Hearts and Metal Gear went into the handheld department. We had Portable Ops, Peace Walker, and the Acid games for Metal Gear Solid, while Kingdom Hearts started going on what appeared to be crazy tangents. For Metal Gear Solid, Portable Ops and the Acid games were considered side stories to the series, but Peace Walker introduced many more concepts, and since it was released on a handheld system, it was sadly not played by very many. Both of these stories seem to be going the way of the dinosaurs. But then, we get Metal Gear Solid 4, and the rumor mill is that Hideo didn't even want to make this one. He wanted people to come to their own conclusions about the plot after Metal Gear Solid 2. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but when you play through this game, you definitely get a sense that he might not wanted to make this one. Almost in an attempt to backpedal all the supernatural stuff that he had thrown into the series, all of our favorite concepts are just thrown to nanomachines. Big Boss arrives after the credits and explains that the Patriots are just a crazy AI that Major Zero made. Looking back at how many different directions the end of the series could have gone, it really just felt kind of like a cop-out. On top of all of that, Hideo basically made it so there was no reason to return to the Metal Gear series. He made Solid Snake age faster than anyone, so he only had a year to live, and he explained everything with nanomachines and killed off the Patriots. It feels like he didn't even want to be here anymore, and I got that feeling when playing this game. Kingdom Hearts, on the other hand, kept throwing more things into the overall plot. You get a feeling that the team wanted to be there, and they wanted to tell the story that they wrote, or write it as they were going and make sure it all made sense, so you wouldn't be able to guess. And that brings us to the entire point of this video and rant. What could we possibly get from Metal Gear Solid 5 that would improve our experience in this world? Introduce new characters that won't make sense in the canon because they never get mentioned again? Explain the final over-the-edge moment for Big Boss so we can better understand him? Why would we want that? The story is done and wrapped up. I just did a long series explaining the whole plot, and the only questions that I and many others have involve situations that come up due to the retconning, not the story itself. Things such as, did Big Boss tell Solid Snake that he was his father? This is issues that arrived because they keep going in and changing the story, not because the story was already developed. Kingdom Hearts, on the other hand, ended their latest game by putting everything together. Dream Drop Distance, their latest game, left it open for everything to come together, and I don't want to spoil it as it's a new game, but if you really want to know the plot, then click this link to go to the video that explains the plot and shows you how well they brought everything together. Now, a quick disclaimer on my Kingdom Hearts comparison, Kingdom Hearts still has their final chapter to come out, and they could completely ruin it. But as it stands right now, I personally feel like it's been put together better. So, that's the question I ask you today, guys. Do we need more Big Boss? I say no. We need more Metal Gear Solid, but let Solid Snake and Big Boss go before it gets completely ruined. In order to even understand what they're talking about at this point, you have so many games to go through if you're a newcomer. Yes, there's the Legacy Pack, but that's still a lot of games for you to sit down and play. Metal Gear Solid 5 shouldn't be 5. It should be a new series, a reboot. Kind of like the Rising idea, but give us a stealth series in a new story with a new hero. Don't turn this new game into God of War Ascension, which basically ruined that whole series. Do we really want to look back on Big Boss and Solid Snake as a series that we should have just let go? How do you guys feel about Metal Gear Solid 5 from a plot standpoint? We're all excited about the gameplay and the possibilities on the brand new generation systems, but why not start it fresh? I'm Infected Crow for Eligible Monster, and these have been my thoughts and opinions. Follow us on all that social media stuff, and we'll see you guys next time.